Hello everybody, and yes, that was my phone farting at me because I have a fart sound for notifications on my phone and I forgot to put my phone on silent, which I'm about to do right now. Oh, what a start. Good evening everybody, welcome to another episode of Songwriting Simplified with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. And it's October 22nd, which means we are perilously close to the end of the contest period for the Halloween Songwriting Challenge contest. So, you guys probably should be close to getting your final finished submissions into that submission folder. So, I hope that that's the case. I have been seeing notifications of people commenting on other people's songs, which is great. That's what I want to see. I want to see you guys. I want to see you guys pitching in and helping each other out and talking to each other and doing all that kind of thing, which is great. The other thing I have also seen is I have seen people actually putting in their submissions, which is great. So some of you are well ahead of the buzzer, which is fantastic. Well done to you if you've got yours in already. I am seriously looking forward to hearing everybody's entries for this year. So just a wee reminder of what is up for grabs as prize or prizes. You can get a year's subscription to Studio One Pro Plus, which at the end of that year will give you a free perpetual license at the end of it. So that is very, very cool for a start. That's just for a start. And then courtesy of my very dear friend, Lucas Rusicka, who is a genius jazz piano player, composer, arranger, and has done a whole bunch of coding as well for different aspects of Studio One over the years. We have his Harmony Wizard and scoring tools up for grabs as well. So that is very exciting to have multiple prizes that are available for you guys to get your hands on. I have installed, I've had Harmony Wizard for quite a while. I have the new update for it. But I also have Scoring Tools 2.0, which I installed just the other day. Thank you very much to Lucas for supplying that to me. I appreciate it a lot. I was very glad to help you with some of the stuff that you needed some help with. Mostly words and things like that, because I don't do coding. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a software coder at all, but I can test things and I can, QA things. QAing stuff is what I do best. So I've been able to help out with that, which has been terrific, and help with some of the words and things like that. So it's a very exciting time to be around Jonny Lipsham Studios for this Halloween. So now that we have this contest kind of coming to an end, and just to remind you that the deadline is the end of the show on Sunday. So the as soon as the end credits go on Sunday Night Live this Sunday, that is the moment that the door is closed and no more entries can be made. So once that is done, then Rich Cresswell and I will be taking a day or two to listen through everyone's submission, and we will be selecting the winner. There is the mixing element of the contest on the go as well, so it's not just for those of you that are songwriters or composers. If you want to do a remix, or if you want to do a mix of Rich's piece, then you can do that already. All the elements that you need for either doing the mix or doing a remix are there in the workspace. You need to reach out to Rich if you want to make a very, very, very last minute entry. So if you want to do that, then you can do. But right now I'm going to plant that little seed to let you know that this is not the only contest that we will be doing in 2025. We will also have the Christmas one as well. which typically we have done. We have asked you guys to do remixes or arrangements or covers of public domain Christmas carols or winter themed songs, or you can write your own such thing. Either has been the case. Rich and I have yet to kind of hash out the details of that, but that is coming up, and it is going to be, to quote Rich himself, this is going to be the biggest contest yet that we have done for Christmas. It's going to be freaking awesome, and I would love it if everybody that comes to these shows takes part. And once again, it'll be done through a my.presonus.com workspace. You don't have to be a subscriber to Studio One Pro Plus to have access to that. All you need is a free my.presonus.com account, and you can create that for free. And once you've done that, then you will be able to get access to that. Again, Rich Cresswell will set you up with that because he runs those workspaces like a boss. He is so good at all of that stuff. And, once again, I want to say a massive thank you to Rich for partnering with me on these contests over the last several years. They have been extremely successful, and a lot of that is down to the work that he puts into making them happen and facilitating it, and making sure that people have resources that they need. He is very, very good at doing all of that stuff. And he also organizes the prizes as well. So a lot of what we do with these contests is down to him. So we all basically owe him a massive slice of thank you. So if you see him around either here in the chat or in the social media places, please do go and, give the guy some kudos. One of the things you can do is you can buy him a coffee. He has a buy me a coffee link, which I think is in the description of this show. So you can go and do that for him. I know, especially as we're going into the winter period, he would definitely appreciate that. So you can certainly do that. My PayPal is also available there. If you want to hit some cash to either of us, you can do that. And I will send whatever you designate to Rich, I can send his way too. All right, so we, let's see. That's enough the preamble. Let's see who is right here at the top of the show. We have Sean Aaron. He was the first in the door. Good grief. And Billy is not even in the top 10 here. That is astounding. But well done, Sean Aaron, with the little cute alien face as well. Culture Juiceyak is here. Christina over in Denmark is also here, which is awesome. And we got Tony Stringer here. We got Just Bob. We got Stevie Wilson. Premeditated plan. I've forgotten who you are. See, this is the thing. YouTube have basically made it YouTube handles rather than names. And that has totally messed up for me who is who. So if your YouTube handle bears no resemblance to your actual name, I'm not going to immediately make the connection, and I apologize for that. Blame YouTube. Please blame YouTube. It is 100% their fault. Brett Marla is here as well, although he's popping in because he has a rehearsal. Brett, I would just like to say, seeing as you're watching this on replay, I'm going to say this directly to camera. Brett, I want to wish you a very happy belated birthday. I hope you had a fantastic day on your birthday. Congratulations, my friend. And thank you for dropping by. And thank you also for watching the replays, because I know you do. You watch every replay. And I appreciate that immensely. So thank you for doing that. Who else do we have? We got, I've already mentioned Just Bob. Ghost Audio Works. I believe that is Jay, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got the key man, Ron Figura, here as well. And we got Juan. Good to see you, my friend. And of course, we've got Mike and Venus here. He says, oh my, I'm actually here. Yes, indeed you are. And I'm very glad that you are. And they are over, if you have not forgotten, they are over in the Philippines, and Mike is enjoying his new life over there, which is amazing. I'm gonna see who else is here that I've missed. Dave, aka Bops NY, is here as well. And Don Oliver is also here. And we've got Tony here as well, which is great. So we've got pretty much everybody who is anybody who is here. So yeah, so welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming and being a part of Songwriting Simplified. You guys are the best, and we've got 17 people here already, which is terrific. So tonight we're kind of going to be doing the final pep talk, really, for the Halloween songwriting. Tony, this is... Oh, okay, I've missed that. This is Garden99. Terry, there we go. Yeah, that's confusing because your handle says Tony. But yes, it's Terry. There we go. All right, so thank you for that. And we've got Keith here as well, which is fantastic. Premeditated plan, that's Keith. All right, so we're getting somewhere. I'm beginning to make connections with people's YouTube handles versus their names. So I'm very glad. Thank you for helping me out with those. Dave is here, contrary to popular belief. And we're very glad he is here. All right, so... as I said, we're going to be doing the final pep talk really for the Halloween contest. So I hope you folks that have taken part have found this to be a useful little adventure. I hope actually opening up how it works has been a lot of help to you, giving you a lot more options. So there are more scales that you can make use of, and you get bonus points for doing so. So if we hear any of those scales in any part of your work, that definitely improves your potential for being a prize winner. So, but like I said, they are optional. You do not have to use them. But if you do, extra kudos to you. So yeah, so I hope all of those have helped. And I hope, like I said, opening it up and making it a little bit more kind of optional. There are things you can do, but you can also do your own thing as well. I hope that that has helped, especially now that over the last several Halloweens, you've basically got yourself armed with a bunch of weird and wonderful sounding scales that you can reuse. So, you know, if you really want to go back and use the B Locrian Natural 6 scale, you can go and do that. Absolutely go and grab that scale as well. Make use of every resource that we've provided you over the last several competitions, and you know, make use of them in this one if you want to. There's nothing stopping you from making use of previously covered stuff to make something brand spanking new. So for myself, I am doing a piece that has a mixture of a few items that I thought you might find interesting. So I am using, for the most part, I am using the diminished whole tone scale, but I am also applying a principle or a composing tool developed by people like Schoenberg and Webern and Berg in the early 20th century, which is basically, they called it a 12-tone note row system. So what does this involve? Well, this involves taking 12 tones from the whole chromatic scale. And the secret with this 12-tone note row is that no note must be related to any other note in the row by intervallic relationship. Right? So they're not that easy to create, by the way, because everybody always kind of comes up with something that has a relationship. One note has a relationship to another. Fundamentally, all notes are related, right? But there are intervallic relationships within 12-tone equal temperament that mean, you know, like a C and an E. Well, that's a major third. So that is an intervallic relationship. C and E flat, that's a minor third. C and F sharp is an augmented fourth. C and G flat is a flatted fifth, a diminished fifth. It's the same sound, it's the same note, it just depends upon your outlook on life. Are you a positive person, in which case you'll call this an augmented fourth? Are you kind of a little bit of a negative kind of person, or a bit more of a pessimist, then you're going to call this a diminished fifth, because, you know, it's kind of flattened. So all of those are what we would call intervallic relationships. Those notes are related to each other via interval. So the secret to making these tone note rows is avoiding standard intervallic relationships like those. And then the secret of this 12-note row is when you are using it to create your melody, there is a little bit of a rule to it as well. And one of the rules is that when you play a note, before you can do your next note of your note row, you must use all the other notes in the note row, and then you can use your next intentional note. So what this does is, this was part of a composing school of music, which basically was commonly known as atonality. It's still based very much in the major-minor tonal system, but the music has no tonal center at all. So it's not in a major key, it's not in a minor key, it's in no key at all. But everything is set within the framework of those 12 tones and the chromatic scale. And so it's still within very much that framework, but it's non-tonal music. So that is what I have set myself the challenge to do. Now, big caveat here. I'm a jazz guy. I'm not a classical composer. Which is why the last several of the pieces that I've done for the Halloween challenge have been kind of neoclassical works. They are kind of orchestral works, or, they are in the classical, contemporary classical music genre, if you like, which is way outside of my wheelhouse. That is not my kind of music at all. I do jazz, I do big band, I do funk, I do soul, I do R&B. That's my wheelhouse. I do pretty much every genre of jazz from the 1920s to the current period. So, and that's my real area of expertise, jazz and funk and fusion music from 1910 all the way through to 2025. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I did my degree in. That's what I did my postgraduate degree in. So, and then, I did my master's in musicology, and, I did my doctoral stuff in musicology as well. So, my background really is jazz. That's my expertise. So orchestral is kind of out of my wheelhouse. But I deliberately, over the last few challenges, have set myself the challenge of doing something orchestral and doing something that's kind of contemporary classical, because it's not my thing at all. And I want to do something that's not my thing at all, as a challenge to myself. So this is kind of going to be a bit different. I have started my work, and I will be finished before the closing date, because I've got some clear ideas how it's going to work. It's going to be pretty darn scary, because there's sound design and some sound effects and things like that are involved in it, kind of like my last one was. My last one was the Bagpipe Murder, where it was kind of a little bit more kind of film noir kind of thing about the murder of either the murder of the bagpipes or the murder of the bagpiper. Kind of, I left that a little open-ended. So that's kind of what my personal challenge is going to be. So it is a mixture of 12-note atonal, non-tonal music, as well as that diminished whole tone scale, which I'm actually centering on 3 different tonal centers. So it's kind of a mixture of tonal and non-tonal music. It's going to be fun. And I'm very, very excited about finishing it off and then getting you guys to hear it. Uh, let's see. Mike says, can I submit the one from last year or whatever year it was when I had two, but Kyle only uploaded one? That is a good question. Because I don't believe you submitted it, did you? If you didn't submit it, maybe we'll let you submit it this time. However, like I said, there's kind of new rules for this year. So try and maybe update it a little bit if you can. If you get a little bit of time to add in an extra little element to it, then yeah, please do that. I'm reading the chat. Sorry, folks. Whole tone scale adds a lactic interval to some of us after the performance. That's funny. Sean Carr is here. Now, I know it's Sean because the last name is Carr and it's bass, so it's got to be Sean. So, I know that's Sean. Let's see. Mike says, is it okay if I only had 4 years of piano in high school, then 3 years in Blair School of Music, then also private lessons for all? Of course, absolutely. He says, and I still cannot play like Jonny. Yeah, well, yeah, I've been playing for pretty much 40 years. And I had no piano lessons. So the fact that you have had piano lessons, you have a distinct advantage that I don't have. You know, in as much as you have learned probably some proper technique, which I never did. I never had any of that. My piano teachers were Thelonious Monk, which you've got to say from a technical standpoint, not maybe the best piano teacher, but from the musical point of view, fantastic piano teacher. Taught me a lot about harmony and taught me a lot about improvisation. Bill Evans taught me a tremendous amount about harmony and chord voicing, and improvisation from a really, really melodic place where it's not just about technique, it's about melody, about telling a story through spontaneous composition, basically. That's what I learned from Bill Evans. And of course, probably my favorite piano player has got to be McCoy Tyner, who was John Coltrane's piano player in his classic group with Jimmy Garrison on bass and Elvin Jones on drums, the classic John Coltrane quartet. And what I learned from McCoy was I learned about pentatonic patterns and modal patterns and modal harmony and playing percussively. You know, you kind of learn about mood and touch and introspection from Bill Evans, and then you learn about, you know, a real sort of percussive style and modal harmony, quartal voicing from McCoy Tyner. And that's what I learned from him. And one of the things he liked was hemiolas, which is basically where you play like 3 and in the time of 2 and, you know, 4 in the time of 3 and things like that. Those are called hemiolas. And he would do those extensively. If you listen to the classic John Coltrane quartet playing My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music, it's a fantastic version. It's actually almost a modal version they do, where in one section it's basically the E major scale, and then the other section it's E Dorian, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. And then you just have to listen to McCoy's awesome piano playing on that tune. It's breathtaking. So, yeah. That's kind of my piano background. No lessons at all. I just listened to a lot of records and learned what I could get from whomever I could get it from, basically. Yeah, I've learned a lot from a lot of different piano players when it comes to piano playing. And piano's actually not my first instrument. For those of you that don't know, My first instrument that I learned was not piano. My first instrument that I learned was drums. I started playing drums when I was 2 years old. And then by the time I was like 5 or 6, I was playing in my parents' band, playing gigs. And you know, they played like all the soul and Motown hits, some R&B songs, and some jazz standards and some funk. That's the kind of stuff I was playing when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I still play drums today, to this very day. I don't have a drum set at home because there's no room for a drum set. My drum set actually lives in the church that we attend at the moment. And so if I want to practice, that's where I go. I also have practice pads here. So I do like practice drills that I've been doing every day since I was 2 years old. Those get done every single day. And then, you know, once a week or once every other week, I will get to the church and I will play for like 4 or 5 hours during the day when I can, like when I'm not working for Presonus. Rich Cresswell, who I was talking about earlier, is here. Rich, first thing I'm going to ask you, my friend, is if you could post a link in the chat here to your Buy Me a Coffee link. That would be cool. I think I have one in the description below, but it would be great if we put it here. That way, you know, people can just hit it like now. I think that would be great. The Walrus 9 must be Tony. I believe it is. I believe it is. Let's see. Do we have any questions about this songwriting challenge that we're finishing up? If you've got any questions, or if you want to talk about things that you have learned from writing your piece, we can talk about that as well. If it's not the case that you've been writing it, you've been doing the mix for it, or you've been doing a remix of Rich's piece, then by all means, whack it in the chat as well. Tell us about it. Tell us about your experience mixing the piece. There you go. Rich has put his Buy Me a Coffee link in there. So if you want to go and send him some coffee, please do that. And yes, I said do. Please go and smack that link and do something nice for Rich, because he definitely deserves it for all that he has done for these songwriting challenges over the last several years. Mike says, can I submit one from last year that didn't get submitted? If you did not submit it, and it fits the rules for this year, and you have access to the workspace, then yes, you can. I will let you do that. Rich, if you're not in the workspace, then Rich will let you in because Rich is a nice guy. Juan says, for me, it was a very interesting challenge and have the harmonies, the seventh motive, the harmonic. Oh, cool. You know what? I'm already looking forward to that. I'm already looking forward to it. Kyle says, lots going on in Rich's mix. Hard to make production decisions to make it sound different. Mike says, I thought the rules were lessened. Yes, they are. But you get bonus points for including the use of the whole tone scale or the diminished whole tone scale. And I'm sure I have forgotten the other scale that we talked about. But yeah, if your piece has any of those elements in it, you will get bonus points. But if it doesn't, it's okay. If it used that Locrian flat 6 scale from like the last time I think we did this, then you can certainly submit that, and that'll be fine. Please do remember that the song must be a maximum of 5 minutes long. 5 minutes, because Rich and I have only finite time to listen to everybody's works, and we want to be able to listen to every super Locrian diminished. There you go. Pretty much the same as the diminished whole tone scale, just a different approach. Yes. A different way of looking at it. Yes. Thank you, Rich. Yeah, so 5 minutes is the max length for your song. The reason being, like I said, we've only got a finite amount of time to listen to everybody's works, and we must listen to everybody's works because we need to be able to to judge and judge on the whole piece, not just, a section of it. So yeah, any of those scales can be used. Either in the entirety, you can either base your work on the scale, or you can just use it in a particular section of your piece, or in some other particular way. If you use the scale musically, not just like going up and down the scale once or twice and going there, it's in, that's not going to cut it. You've got to make use of, if you're going to use one of the scales, you've got to make use of them musically. Make it make sense, not just go, right there, I've got the diminished whole tone scale in there. Because that won't cut it. You need to actually do this properly and musically, because we want you to show us not only that you have understood the scale, but also you have found musical applications for that scale to make it sound interesting, to make it scary, because ultimately the goal of using any of the stuff that we give you, including these scales, the goal of it is to scare the shit out of me and Rich. We want to be truly terrified. And that was alliterative, which is good. I like being alliterative. So yes, the secret is to scare the shit out of me and Rich. That's what you've got to achieve. If you do that, you're in a good spot to win it. Rich says, just added a new person to the workspace. There's still time. Get those songs in. Yes, there is still time. Although not very much. You are running out of time rapidly, but we are getting, there is still time. It's got to be a minimum of 3 minutes, a maximum of 5 minutes long. Okay? 3 minutes is kind of like your classic radio kind of duration. 5 minutes is like maybe your LP kind of duration. And we'll take either, to be honest. But yeah, we will not be accepting any kind of John Cage 4 minutes 33 seconds pastiches. No. I would not even be allowed to enter my awesome big band arrangement of Cage's 4 minutes 33. Which, by the way, I played that at Ronnie Scott's one year with my band. I just decided to throw it in the set, and I thought, why not? Let's just do it just for a laugh, just to see how people let's just see how people go with it. And they did. They totally went for it, and it went down a storm. It was a lot of fun to do that arrangement. For those of you that know the piece I'm talking about, you will probably be laughing at the moment, as you should be. Can we hear examples or others? You can hear examples of what other people are doing once you are in the workspace. When you are in the workspace, you can hear everything that everybody submits. Not that I am suggesting for a second that you go and copy anything, and I'm sure you guys wouldn't, because you're not that kind of people. But certainly maybe take some inspiration from what you're hearing other people doing. Or at the very least to kind of guide you in a particular direction that you might be interested in going in. Other people's works will help you to do that. When I'm struggling to kind of get a song going, one of the things I do is I listen to other songs. I listen to songs by other songwriters who have inspired me and continue to inspire me. So I listen to their works all the time. And sometimes I revisit other songwriters that I've not listened to in a while. For example, Sting. I've not listened to Sting's records in quite a while. And I found myself this week listening to the whole Soul Cages record on repeat, and just going, you know what, man, that record is such a darn fine record. And then listening to Ten Summoners Tales again as well. Um, so so I revisited a lot of that to help me get some songs going when I kind of really struggle. And I listened to Steely Dan as well. Other great example of songwriting. I'll listen to Paul Simon. I listen to the Gracelands album a lot because there are some absolute belters on that record. So I listen to a lot of those songs. But I will also listen to Cole Porter. I will listen to the Gershwin brothers. I will listen to Irving Berlin if I'm in that particular mood. I will listen to Burt Bacharach as well. Burt Bacharach wrote some outstanding songs, and of course Randy Newman is a great songwriter as well. My kind of pantheon of great songwriters spans, songwriting for the last 120 years, pretty much. I'll listen to music hall and vaudeville songs, from, the turn of the century, the beginning of the 20th century, I should say, all the way through the 1920s, the Tin Pan Alley period, the 1930s, on into the 1940s, 1950s, and through to the present day. Although there's a lot of the 1980s I don't listen to because a lot of stuff from the 1980s was not very good. There are some standout groups who did write some fantastic songs, but there aren't that many. Level 42 is a fine example of a great band, and Mark King is a fantastic songwriter. He's also a heck of a bass player. How the fuck, and I'm using that word, does Mark King play those incredibly complex slapping patterns and sing complex rhythms and melodies that are not even remotely related to what he's doing on the bass? How the hell does he do that? Other than, obviously, a lot of practice and a lot of hard work to be able to separate what he does on the bass to what he sings. That's... Watching him perform just totally blows me away how he does it. I mean, does Mark King have the greatest voice ever? No, he doesn't. But what he does with his voice and what he does with his songwriting, I think more than makes up for the fact that maybe he doesn't have the strongest voice with the biggest vocal range. He doesn't, and he'd probably be the first to admit it. But how the heck he does all the slapping and stuff and singing. See, when I'm slapping on my bass, I can't talk. I can't complete words, let alone entire sentences, let alone make those words and sentences into melody. I just can't do it. I can't separate the two things, the slapping and the singing. It just doesn't work for me. But I guess a lot of it is just a lot of practice. And, being able to learn how to separate those aspects of what your brain does. So maybe a certain amount of the bass playing is autopilot, which means he can then concentrate more of the frontal part of his mind on the singing. I suspect maybe some of that is true. Because when I'm playing drums, particularly when I'm playing drums with a big band, I'm playing something different with all four of my limbs, plus I'm reading a chart, plus I'm watching a conductor. Unless I'm leading the band, in which case I am the conductor, and I'm also following a chart, and I'm also doing four-way independence. And I can do that. I can do that without really thinking about it. So maybe it is just a case of you just spend a lot of time learning how to separate the faculties of your brain so you can do that. I don't know. But I certainly cannot do the whole slap bass and sing thing at all. I can sing and play drums. Sort of. I don't do anything very complicated when I'm playing drums and singing. What the heck is the name of the lead vocalist in the Eagles, the drummer? I've forgotten his name. He has that down to a fine art, playing drums and singing. And that's kind of not easy at all to do, but he does that really well. The Eagles have written some really, really great songs as well. They're not entirely my cup of tea. Sometimes I'll listen to them. Like maybe if there's a particular lyrical style that I'm after, the Eagles will probably have captured it because they do write some very, very good lyrics. Don Henley, yes. I know why I have forgotten his name, and I'm not going to say it here on YouTube because he will pursue this show and get it taken down. So I'm not I'm not going to say why I try and forget his name. But it has to do with copyright. And yeah. A number of my friends' channels have been copyright struck by Mr. Henley and other members of the Eagles for basically doing what I do, which is education, but talking about and breaking down musicological aspects of their music. And they just, nope, they're playing our song, nope. And it doesn't help anybody other than make Mr. Henley appear to be something that maybe he isn't as a person. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. Mike says, I've had copyright strikes for my own music. Yep, I have too. Because a while back, I think this is maybe a couple of years ago, when I used an example of another artist's song that I had done the arrangement for. And basically I took her song and I reharmonized it and did the full band arrangement of it for her for the record label that she was working on. And I went to the sessions. I worked with the musicians that were on the session. I conducted the band. And I was there for some of the post-production as well. But when I used an example of her song, like a 10-second example of her song, this is a couple of years ago, by the way, some of you might remember this, that show got a copyright strike. Even though that's my arrangement. It's her song. She is the rightful copyright owner, but I wrote the arrangement. And I was using it as an example to show how you can reharmonize a melody. And that show got copyright struck. It didn't get taken down, but it got a copyright strike. And so I ended up having to go to her name is Samantha, and the record company that record was done with. And eventually they were just like, oh, yeah, we're really sorry about that. That's obviously the algorithm that does that for us. So we'll just get that reversed. And they got that reversed that day. So that copyright strike got removed. But still, it is annoying. It is very annoying. Let's see. Oh no, this is Songwriting Simplified, not Sunday Night Live. Darn, my bad. Yeah, this is not Sunday Night Live. So we will be talking Studio One and stuff like that on Sunday. So here's how it's all gonna go down towards the end of this week. So Sunday will be Sunday Night Live as normal, and we'll talk normal stuff. We'll talk about the stuff. If I remember the stuff that's in the chat there. I probably won't, so you may need to repost that question. I would say copy and paste that question to a notepad or a text file or something like that, and then on Sunday paste it back into the chat is what I would suggest, because it's a good question and I don't want to miss that. So Sunday will be normal Sunday Night Live. We will talk Studio One, recording, mixing, mastering, music production, all of that stuff there. Then when the show finishes, and as soon as the show goes off the air, that is the moment that the door closes on submissions for the Halloween Songwriting Challenge for 2025. And then on Wednesday the 29th will be Songwriting Simplified. Rich Cresswell will be here with me on the show, and we will talk through your songs. We will talk through our listening experience of the songs, and we will announce people that have won, or the person that has won. We'll see kind of how that plays out as we're going through our judging. And then on Friday the 31st, that is Halloween, but it is also the UK Studio One meetup. So we will be having a Halloween themed Studio One meetup. So it would be very cool if you guys could find like some scary costumes or some masks or hats or some other shit that you can wear for that. That would be just hilarious to make it fun, and bring some beers, and we'll just make it a fun time talking together and talking Studio One and talking the future personas and all of that fun stuff as well. And then that'll take us into December. And then in the beginning of December, Rich and I will be we will be unveiling the Christmas songwriting challenge. And we'll be talking about that, what the rules will be for that, and when closing dates and all of that kind of thing will be. For parts of December, I am not going to be here. I am going to be in Hamburg, Germany. So there may be a show or two that I will miss. Once I've got dates finalized for that, I will let you know. Certainly for right now, it might be December 5th. I might be back in time. It just depends upon my flight back. And flights have not yet been organized for that. But it depends upon my flight back. If I'm back home in time on Wednesday, and it's not a late flight in, then we will do the show for then. And I will let people know about that. And then around about the 17th, 18th of December. Let me see when that is. We might actually be okay for the 17th, 18th, 19th. I'm going to be away again, but I should again be back in time on the 19th. Because I'm away quite a bit in December in Hamburg. Yeah, thanks for doing that, Rich. I appreciate that. All right, so that is what we will be doing for the remainder of this month. It's going to be pretty cool. I am so looking forward to hearing everybody's Halloween songs, and I'm so looking forward to being able to give some stuff away, which is going to be very cool. And to worthy winners or worthy winner, kind of depends. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. And then we'll be getting into Christmas, and we'll start getting in the Christmas spirit. What you'll find is when we start getting into Christmas, we will find that this backdrop that's behind me here will change and become Christmas themed for the whole month of December. Rich says, we'll be starting the Christmas challenge whilst I'm in the States. Yes, of course. Rich is going to be in the United States for some parts of December. He says he'll set it up ahead of time. There we go. Cool. Cool. Dave says, thank you for simplifying our songs. No. I think sometimes, just being reflective here for a moment, I think sometimes the title Songwriting Simplified, we do talk about some pretty complicated things. Things like Locrian natural 6 scales, Dorian flat 2 scales, Mixolydian mode, and diminished whole tone scales. Whole tone scales, we talk about all of that kind of stuff, and we talk about improvisation, we talk about harmony and chord changes and things like that. And we get, quite into the weeds a little bit. But the idea is that what I try and do is I try and make the complex simple, so that when you apply the complex, when you understand the concepts, when you apply them, you make the end result of the effect it has upon your music, upon your songs, upon your compositions and your arrangements. Is the idea is that the net result is that you have a grasp of all these concepts that you can apply, and you end up making the complex sound simple. And that's what the best composers, arrangers, and songwriters do. They make the complex sound simple. You go to listen to any songwriter, and you'll find that when you dig beneath the surface of the song, you'll find that there are a lot of complex elements going on at the same time. Some of them are harmonically complex. Like, there are some songs out there, for example, I'm thinking Dire Straits, the Brothers in Arms record. And I'm thinking that song, Your Latest Trick, which, by the way, is a fecking awesome song. I highly recommend you check out that entire record, because the entire record is a class record from start to finish. But that particular song is a particularly awesome song, and I'll tell you why. The reason it is such an awesome song is because it has some harmonically complex elements to it. Like, it's got some 13 sharp 11 chords in there. It's got some major 9 chords in there. It's got all sorts of complex harmony, but it doesn't sound like it. It's the way those chords are introduced, the way they're set up, and then the way they are, the way the ear is prepared for those chords, and then the chords are played. So the title of the song is Your Latest Trick, and it's from the Brothers in Arms album by Dire Straits. And the production and the mixing is outstanding on that record. I think it's probably the best record they did, and you're absolutely right. There is no bad Dire Straits album. They are all amazing. They are all really, really good. But that particular record is great. There are fantastic songs from start to finish. Particularly the title track, for one. But also, like I said, that song, Your Latest Trick, is really, really terrific. It features a lot of really nice elements. There's like a synth kind of bell counter melody that goes almost all the way throughout the song. And it features this nice kind of little, it's not a bossa nova, it's actually a slowed down songo. I think it's a songo that they're playing, that Omar Hakim is playing on drums. And it features a couple of really, really fantastic musicians. The freeform trumpet intro at the start of that song is by Randy Brecker. And then when it goes to tempo, and you get the main kind of interlude hook line on tenor saxophone, that's his brother, Michael Brecker, who sadly died in 2007. But Michael was an outstanding, incredible jazz saxophone player. He was probably one of, if not the greatest exponent of the tenor saxophone since John Coltrane, in my opinion. by far. He was capable of playing the most incredibly complex patterns on the saxophone at a bewildering speed, and yet you listen to how he plays on that song, because not only does he play the little interlude between each verse, but he plays the out solo as well, and it's incredibly melodic and simple, and yet it demonstrates Michael's ability to spontaneously compose melody. He doesn't just improvise. He doesn't just play patterns and licks and stuff like that. He's capable of doing that, but he just doesn't do that in this particular case. It's spontaneous composition. The melody has structure. He takes a thematic motif and he develops it. He takes an element of the hook melody, and then he stretches that out a little bit, and then he develops this beautiful romantic melody which just summarizes the song entirely. It's fantastic. He did that with Donald Fagen's Maxine as well. It's on Maxine, it's only 8 bars that he plays, but it's probably the most perfect 8 bars of tenor saxophone you've ever heard in your life. It's beautiful, it's rhapsodic, it's melodic, it's complex, and he uses the whole range of the saxophone from the lowest low F sharp all the way up into altissimo super G. And it's just heavenly. It's perfect. So those are 2 examples of Michael Brecker's pop music playing that I highly recommend you check out. And then once you've heard him, you will want to go and check out all of his jazz stuff as well. Yeah, Mike says, my finger's just shortly off key. Yes, you're typing in B flat minor, man. Come on. Come on, Mike. You can do better than this. So, okay, so there we go. So that's a song for you to listen to, is Your Latest Trick. Go check that out. And Donald Fagen's Maxine as well. Go check both of those songs out. And you'll hear great, great songwriting in 2 different ways, and use of kind of chromatic harmony in 2 different ways as well. Plus Michael Brecker playing in 2 different pop music contexts, which are well worth checking out. All right, so there we go. That is the end of the show tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Mike, don't you dare delete a thing, otherwise I'll ban you from my channel. And I'm serious. Don't you dare delete a single thing you've just said. And that's the end of the show. I finished by rebuking Mike. Classic. All right, guys. Take care. I'll see you all on Sunday for the closing deadline of the Songwriting Challenge and Songwriting Sunday Night Live as usual. Good night, everybody.